Hi, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for all the questions and feedback. Today, I will be spending a few minutes answering your questions. This Q&A session is split up into 4 parts. 1, about me and my fitness and life journey. 2, we'll talk about nutrition tips. 3, workout tips and attitude towards working out. And 4, workout logistics and specifics. I tried to answer all your questions, but if I missed something, please do leave a question in the comments below and I will do my best to answer it. Also taking a quick moment to remind you that the 12-week strong workout program will start on March 28th. I hope you join me. All right, let's get into this About Me section. My name is Vera LaRo or Vera LaRo on social platforms. I live in Boston with my husband, who is responsible for the beautiful last name, and our fluffy cat named Lychee, who is right there behind me and unwilling to join, but she does join some of our workouts, as you already know. I'm originally from Russia, but I've been in the US for over 20 years. I started learning English when I was 5 due to my parents' strong persistence. We did not have much. We lived in a 500 square foot apartment and my parents slept on the couch, but they always made sure I learned my English as they knew it would provide so many more opportunities in life, which it surely did. My family is Jewish, and growing up, we were always treated differently and looked different than all the Russian kids, which has left a lasting impression on me and shaped the way that I interact with others. We were lucky enough to live in Israel for a short while, which was an incredible experience. I became a US citizen in 2019 after almost 2 decades of visas, extensions, and constantly being afraid I would have to go back. It truly was one of the best days of my life. I studied chemical engineering and French in college at Northwestern. I absolutely loved Chicago and lived there for 8 years. In college, I also studied German and started learning Spanish. After college, I went straight to law school and then worked in large law firms in Chicago and then in Boston. I focused on intellectual property law, primarily patents and patent litigation. Most of the last few years of my practice focused on pharmaceutical work, dealing with metabolic diseases, liver issues, and cancer. The work itself was incredibly interesting, but did not allow for free time or weekends. Working out was always an escape for me, something I did just for myself, so I always made time for it. Whether it meant getting to the gym at 6 a.m. after working till 2 o'clock in the morning, or sneaking in a 45-minute workout at lunch, I got it done and did not allow excuses to get in the way of working out. I left my job in law for many reasons, but sanity being the primary one. The final straw for me was being told my hours were a bit low for the month we went on our 2-week honeymoon, during which I still responded to emails. I just needed a change. Luckily, I was always conservative with money and saved a lot of what I made, and we made some good investments, plus my blog was doing quite well, so I was able to leave. Although I originally planned to take another job shortly after leaving, some life events ended up changing that trajectory. I started my Instagram in 2017, primarily focusing on fashion and travel and food. The name was Fashion Eats Travel because I couldn't pick just one. This was a big escape from my law job and I love doing something entirely different. I started posting some fitness content as far back as 2018 and always received positive feedback. My account changed fully to fitness in 2020 once the gyms closed. I have always trained with weights and always trained in a similar style. Supersets of 4 exercises was always my preferred training style. Always tough, challenging exercises focused on getting results. I used to work out only at the gym and thought that working out at home was a joke. Wow, how wrong was I to think that. We had to switch to working out fully at home and I never looked back since. I had to improvise a lot when we started working out from home and I loved it. I always loved the feeling of making a difference and giving others new exercises and ideas to try. I started my YouTube channel in August of 2021 after many months of requests from those that have followed me on Pinterest and Instagram. I had never done a YouTube workout before or even seen one. The only YouTuber I heard of at that point was Chloe Tang, and I remember looking at one of her videos trying to figure out what logistic components I should include in my workouts. I quickly had to teach myself how to edit a video so that I could incorporate a timer and the progress bar, which I understood to be completely essential to a YouTube workout. I first started posting short workouts, but then I got so many requests for full workouts that I started doing that shortly after. My first scheduled program was a 20-minute HIIT week that we did for Thanksgiving 2021. All right, I wanted to also quickly talk about hobbies, as some of you asked about that. Aside from working out, which takes a lot of time, I enjoy learning languages. I still try to keep up with my Spanish. We also love traveling and cooking. My husband is definitely a better cook than I am, but I'm very good at chopping vegetables and adding Greek yogurt to every single meal. All right, next, let's talk about food and what I eat and how I approach food. I take a very balanced approach to eating. This wasn't always the case. I have done my fair share of silly diet and constant restrictions. It didn't work. It only made me miserable and stalled my progress. Now I try to listen to my body and feed my body to fuel my workouts and my life. I only eat foods that I actually enjoy eating. I don't plan all my meals in advance. I always leave room for some flexibility and to enjoy food that I actually feel like eating on any particular day. I start my days with some water. I don't measure water consumption, but I do try to have those several cups of water every single day. Then I have a big coffee with a splash of lactose-free milk and some collagen mixed in. For breakfast, about 5 days a week, I have a 2% Greek yogurt bowl or a no-salt cottage cheese bowl, and I add some chia seeds, flax seeds, and some berries or other fruit. Sometimes I also add some granola, cereal, sugar-free syrup, or coconut chips. It really just depends on what we have at home and what I feel like eating that day. The flax seeds and chia seeds tend to keep my stomach very happy. Then on the weekends, on Saturdays, we'll usually go out for breakfast and share a breakfast sandwich and a yogurt bowl. And on Sundays, we usually make some eggs at home. If you prefer eggs, you certainly can have eggs for breakfast every morning. I just generally am too lazy to cook them. Also, Greek yogurt and cottage cheese do pack a ton of protein, about 16 grams for just about 100 calories serving. It's just very hard to compete with that. Eggs, for example, have about 7 grams of protein and 70 calories. So it's just math when it comes to protein. For lunch, I always have some type of lean protein and lots of greens. I often have a big green salad from Sweet Green, for those of you that have one available. Often I'll add some extra chicken to get that little bit of extra lean protein. And veggies are always a part of my lunch as well. For me, chicken breast, turkey, lean beef, tuna, or tofu are what I have for my proteins. Then I often have some type of carb like quinoa or rice, or honestly whatever I feel like that day. I usually ask for light dressing if a dressing comes on something. And to be honest, I eat lunch out 3 to 5 days a week. I don't always cook my lunch, and that's okay. Lots of healthy options to choose from when you're eating out, as long as you know where to look for them. In the afternoon, I often have an espresso with some kind of a treat. Sometimes it's a small cookie, some dried mango, pita chips, really anything I feel like eating that day. I eat what I want, but I do try to keep the portion sizes small, especially when it comes to those snacks and treats. Dinner, more lean protein and some carb. For carbs, we usually just opt for half serving. So if a recipe calls for a full serving of something, we'll literally just cut it in half, or we have 1 serving for the 2 of us. Then you can still have carbs and enjoy them, but keep those calories on the lower side and still stay full. My meals are typically large and filling, and I tend not to snack. I eat on the later side. I usually have breakfast between 10 and 11, lunch around 2 or 3 p.m. I'll have my afternoon coffee around 5, and then dinner sometime around or after 8 o'clock, followed by dessert. If I do snack in a particular day, I try to be mindful around serving sizes, especially of calorie-dense foods like nuts and dried fruits. But if I crave something like nuts, I go ahead and have some. I just keep those amounts in mind. All right, weight loss and calorie deficit. A lot of you had questions about that, so let's talk about it. I don't believe in eliminating any foods or restrictive diets. Extreme diets scare me, and please don't do them, and please consult your doctor if you're even considering something like that. The only way to lose weight is to be in a caloric deficit. There are simple calculators online that could tell you what that deficit is based on your height, age, weight, and activity level. If you Google Mayo Clinic weight calculator, you can find an idea of what that could be. One way to burn more calories is more activity. Another one is to add more protein. It takes our bodies about 20 to 30% more energy to burn protein versus carbs or fat. It also helps keep you full for longer and helps you build muscle. Carbs and fats are essential as well, and you also need to get that sufficient amount of fiber to help you digest those foods, especially the protein. Keeping a food diary can be something that's extremely helpful in your weight loss journey. Culprits are often not your regular meals, but oversized snacks and desserts which pack tons of sugar and calories. I personally tend to avoid added sugar except in my desserts. Start a food diary and be honest with yourself about those extra handfuls of nuts or those bites of cookies. You could really surprise yourself. Some people think that it is possible to lose weight without being in a caloric deficit, but it's just not. The caloric deficit might be different for different people, and some underlying conditions and diet choices may play a role in that, but you need to be in a caloric deficit in order to lose weight. Another question I received was about tracking macros. Personally, I don't measure my macros and I don't track anything. I do try to get about 1 gram of protein per pound of my body weight, but some days it might be less and some days it might be more. This might be too high or too low for you, but that's something that has worked for me for a while. I don't track carbs or fat, but I always get a sufficient amount of both. And remember that carbs are absolutely essential to your health and to proper muscle development. The 80-20 principle is what I'd say I strive for most of the time without measuring anything specifically. I eat out fairly frequently and we travel quite a bit. I just try to make good food choices when we do eat out. That usually means more lean protein, less carbs, less fats, and no or less sugary drinks. I do drink socially, a couple drinks a week, but I try to steer clear of sugary drinks as I prefer to eat my calories versus drink my calories. It's crazy how much sugar can be packed into just a small drink. I also don't drink sugary soda. I do drink a Zevia ginger ale almost every day because it's tasty and it's sweetened with stevia. And I generally don't drink any smoothies or other sweet drinks. I prefer to eat all my calories as that makes me feel full for longer and just generally makes me feel fuller. All right, another question I received is on intermittent fasting. I tried it and it did not work for me. It actually landed me in the hospital, so I am certainly not recommending it to others. It really is all about how many calories you consume in a day. What time you consume them really doesn't matter that much. If intermittent fasting works for you and makes you happy, fantastic. But if it doesn't, or you don't want to restrict yourself like that, you certainly don't need to do that. Find what works for you and what works for your lifestyle. Another question that I received was about supplements. I personally don't take supplements and I don't eat protein powder. I prefer to get all my protein content and vitamins from real foods. Due to an underlying autoimmune condition, I do take vitamin D3, and because of the same condition, I started taking collagen and spirulina. I do recommend collagen to everyone as it's hard to get enough from foods alone. I do prefer to get my protein from vegetarian and animal sources. Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, lactose-free milk, and eggs are some of the vegetarian protein sources that I tend to stick to. And then for animal-based proteins, I go for turkey, chicken, lean beef, tuna, salmon. Those are some of the ones that we eat every week. Vegan protein tends to be more calorie dense. You have to eat so much more to get the same protein intake as for vegetarian and animal-based protein sources. I don't advocate one way or the other. You have to do what works best for you. But personally, I don't look to vegan protein sources for my protein. I've tried some vegan protein powders, but they left me with some stomach aches and digestion problems, so I don't do those anymore. Staying on track while traveling. We travel quite often and I love experiencing new foods and new cultures. We tend to eat what we like, but we always keep protein and portion sizes in mind. I love fish and ceviches, which is always a great way to get your protein content in while keeping those calories on the lower side. I still try to get a healthier breakfast with eggs or yogurt most days when we travel. I also do try to get that lean animal protein with lunch or dinner. You can always ask a restaurant about the method of preparation or ask for a sauce on the side to keep those calories down. Or just share something that you're really craving. We always do that. In addition, when we travel, we tend to walk a lot, so that also helps keep you on track. Most importantly, enjoy your trip. Try to do some small steps like eating more fruits and veggies, which will keep your stomach and digestive tract happy. When it comes to eating out, I always advocate for more lean protein and to ask for heavy sauces on the side. If you want a sugary cocktail, have one, but I'd recommend switching to something lighter or sweetening with something like stevia for your other drinks. Red wine is always a great option, and that's what I tend to drink quite often when I do drink. Bloating. All right, I do have IBS and get bloated from certain foods, so I tend to avoid or eat those foods in smaller quantities. One for me is sweet apples, which make me blow up quite literally like a balloon. I usually have lactose-free milk to also avoid bloating, but Greek yogurt and cottage cheese tend to naturally have low lactose levels, so those don't irritate my stomach. I tend to take a common sense approach to things. If some food puts me in pain, I try not to have much of it. I work out when I'm bloated as long as I'm not in pain. I tend to remind myself that I'm tough and a little bit of discomfort isn't going to stop me. You can always find a reason to skip a workout, so I don't let myself do that. All right, now let's get into some workout tips. Let's start with motivation. Motivation will not always be there. There are many days when I don't feel like working out at all. For me, I feel a sense of responsibility to bring you the workouts that I promise, so I stick to it anyway. You'll never regret doing a workout. Exercise your willpower and just get it done. Having a printed out calendar can help. Having a written planned calendar can also help. Having an accountability partner or group or a friend, those are some of the things that can help you as well. Push through and get it done. Sometimes that motivation just won't be there. All right, let's move on to training while on your menstrual cycle. And the binging and junk food desires that come along with it, The day before my period, I usually attack crunchy, salty, or sweet snacks, and that's how I know my period is coming the next day. I almost never snack, but around my period, I just need it. So I tend to just snack and let myself have what I want. But I don't let that one day binge turn into a multi-day event. I still try to control those portion sizes and remind myself to eat the foods that will actually fill me up and make me feel good. I do tend to get pretty bad cramps on day one, and if it doesn't get better with some medication and heating pads, I may skip my workout. But if I do feel better, I go and do my workout. I might allow myself some extra breaks, or I might use lighter weights, but I just get it done. I listen to my body, and it's always so important to listen to your body. But remember, you are tougher than you think, but also some extra breaks and lighter weights is absolutely okay. All right, so you had a day of binge eating. What do you do next? First of all, don't feel like you have to burn off what you ate or earn your next meal. Just don't think that way. You can't change the past. Life happens. Move on and get right back to where you started. Fuel your body, make sure you eat, and eat those full meals. If you do have any health issues or if you're feeling off, do consult your doctor, and don't forget your yearly physical. That's how I found out I had an autoimmune disease in the early stages that would have gotten so much worse if not for that early discovery. I do tend to train through some minor things like headaches and stomach aches, but listen to your body and adjust accordingly. You are tougher than you think. Don't let excuses get in the way of your progress. If you do have any injuries or prior health conditions, please do consult your doctor, and remember you should fully heal before starting an exercise program unless your doctor tells you otherwise. Soreness, let's talk about that. Just because you're not sore does not mean that you did not get a good workout. Recovery times can depend on many factors, from your training style to your diet and genetics. Water and protein intake can help tremendously with recovery. Make sure you're getting enough protein and enough water. If you are absolutely struggling with recovery, consider adding some BCAAs or glutamine, which are amino acids that help with recovery. Your muscles need to recover between workouts. That's why it is so important not to train the same muscles 2 days in a row. If you don't rest your muscles, how can they properly recover? My schedules are always set up in a way to allow for muscles to rest, and have always trained that way. Aside from tacking on an extra 20-minute ab session, I don't film multiple workouts in a day. Please, please, please do not train abs or glutes every single day. If you've been doing that, chances are you're not seeing very good results. I train abs once per week, and there's no one best abs exercise. You have to train your abs from all angles. The best ab workouts actually come from non-ab specific exercises, and especially those standing upper body exercises which really challenge your abdominal muscles. All right, let's get into some workout specifics. I got a lot of questions about cardio. I walk quite a bit, but I tend not to do any specific cardio as I just don't really enjoy it. I only do workouts that I post. I actually haven't done workouts outside of what I've posted since perhaps November of last year. Starting with a strong summer program on March 28th, I will try to add some more 30-minute cardio type workouts. Those will be happening about once a week or so. Dumbbells versus bands, you'll notice that most of my workouts require dumbbells. I want to provide the most effective workouts for you that you can do from home with minimal equipment. Most workouts will require dumbbells for the best results. Bands are fantastic, but I consider them an add-on, as you are unlikely to see significant results from just band workouts. They simply cannot provide enough resistance to get those results. workouts. I do love bands for certain lower body exercises as an add-on and for certain upper body exercises and stretches. They're fantastic to travel with as well when you don't have access to dumbbells. I also recommend getting a sand kettlebell for travel. It's just a little canvas kettlebell that you can fill with sand or rocks, and you can just fill it up when you get to your destination. All right, warm-ups and cool-downs and stretches. Warm-ups will always be suggested in the introductions and linked in the caption of every workout. I know some have suggested that it would be easier not to click between workouts, but having to film a new warm-up each day would add an excessive amount of time to filming and editing and just add too much additional workout time. I go through each workout with light or no weights each time before I film, and that tends to be my warm-up for most of the workouts. How do you pick the right weights for you? You want to challenge yourself. Pick a weight that you can lift with good form and make sure those last 3 to 5 reps of each set are challenging but doable with proper form. Again, you are stronger than you think. Don't be afraid to go up in weights. Switching weights between workouts is absolutely okay. If you started with a heavier weight but don't feel like you can do it with good form, just switch to a lighter weight. I do that all the time. Just listen to your body and see how you feel. Building muscle, is it possible at any age? Absolutely. You can build muscle at any age as long as you continue to fuel yourself and to challenge yourself with your workouts. Do you need to go to the gym? Absolutely not. I haven't worked out at a gym in over 2 years now and have actually seen better results training at home than I did previously working out at a gym. Should you work out barefoot or should you work out with shoes? It's really up to you. I used to work out with shoes all the time, and then I started working out barefoot once I started working out at home. Working out barefoot does provide superior balance and control, but it's certainly not for everyone. You can use shoes or not use shoes if you like. How long should you work out for? 40 to 60 minutes is generally what I recommend for most workouts. Do a 5-minute warm-up, a 40 to 45-minute workout, and a 5-minute cool down would be a good setup in my book. If you don't have time for a full workout, 30 minutes is more than enough. Of course, I do recommend the full workouts that I post, and you will likely see more progress with those longer workouts. Remember, my workouts are always designed with your success and your results in mind. When should you work out? You should work out any time that works for you. There's no ideal time to work out. With fitness, you can always find an opinion to support almost any question, but with the time, it really doesn't matter. Just work out when you have the time. All right, that is all I'm going to cover for today. I hope you enjoyed this Q&A session. If you do have other questions, please leave them in the comments below. And I hope to see you join for the 12-week Strong Summer program starting on March 28th.